Hi, my name is Karla and welcome to my YouTube channel, Karla K Art. I'm an artist that specializes in hand painted silk. Today I'm going to do a tutorial. It's a two-part tutorial. Actually, the first part is about me. I've drafted a design on paper and I've transferred it to silk, and I'm going to be drawing the resist lines. These are the lines that contain the silk dye that keep the dye from spreading. So the first video is about me applying those lines. The second video, part B, is actually about me applying dye to the lines, to the silk, and you can watch that in a separate video. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to change the angle here in a second so you can see what I'm doing, and sit back, relax, and watch. So this is a picture of the draft drawing that I did on paper. I just did this on newsprint. And here's a closer up picture of what that looks like. It's a very loose drawing. I just want to know where the general characters and items in the drawing are going to be located. And from there, I move out to transferring it onto the silk. I transfer it onto the silk with the use of a light board, and sometimes I can just see the drawing through the silk if the silk is transparent enough. And I just use a light pencil to do that, and the pencil lines actually come out of the silk when the piece is finished, when I wash it out at the very end. So the pencil lines will not be seen. I'm going to put a link in the upper right here to a video I did specifically on how I transfer my drawings to the silk, so you can look at that video if you like. Hi everyone. People have asked to see how I apply my resist, so this is a video that's going to show you how I apply the resist. Started off with Jacquard Permanent Resist, and it comes in clear or black, and this particular bottle is black, as you can see, and it's in a plastic resist applicator and a 0.07 or 0.07 top, which this is actually a mechanical pencil top, so you can do any size you want. I prefer a larger top because they don't get clogged as often and you don't have to squeeze as hard. And I change the width of the line by how much I squeeze it. The more you squeeze and the slower you move, the thicker the line will be. The lighter you squeeze and the faster you draw the line, the thinner the line will be. And so I'll go ahead and draw this here. And I'm not really concerned with sticking directly to the lines, because whenever I do a draft, it is just that. It is a draft. I don't try to get too caught up in it. Because when I'm painting, if I put a large dab of paint here, it will flow into the fringe, and I may or may not want that to happen when I start coloring this in. On these bottom ones down here, I usually end up drawing a base so that the dye has a place to stop and it doesn't spread into the fringe. So I took the inspiration for this piece from some grass, a grassy area, a foliage area in my yard. I live in Arlington, Washington, and we're just about an hour north of Seattle, so we get a lot of rain. And as such, there is a lot of plants. And I just took a picture of what was out there, and that's what I'm drawing. And then for animals in this piece, there are 3 ravens. I really like ravens a lot, so I end up drawing them often. And I like drawing the feathers. I think the feathers look really cool when you do them in the hand painted silk. So that one went up, and yeah, this one was behind it. I like editing my lines as I go, so whenever you see my work when I'm drawing it, I'm going to move angles here. I never stick to actually what's there. I'm always changing it around. Unless, of course, I'm doing a commission piece, in which case, if the client has approved a drawing, then I stick to it directly, unless I get their permission to change something. These are sticker brush leaves, so you gotta leave the edges rough. I recently had a fight with a sticker bush, and it was a battle, man. It drew blood. down on my ankle. I was in shorts, I should have been in jeans. Actually, what I've got here, maybe if I take a break and I walk away and I come back and I'll look up what the name of this actual fern is. Somebody told me it was a bracken fern, but I'm not sure that is the technical name for it. See, there was another leaf, but I'm just gonna pretend it isn't that because I don't like it. And my drawing, my draft drawing, is a little narrower than the silk, and I do that on purpose to leave me a little bit of leeway on the edges in case I ever decide I want to draw a border. So I have to, when I'm doing the edges here, there's never a design drawn. I have to make something up. I have to continue the design out here on the edges, which is I did when I was drawing to a certain extent, but whoops, potato. And I don't always draw them this particular way. I just decided to draw them this way this time. Make sure I don't do anything wrong here. See, I made that a little wider than I would have liked. It's okay, it'll look really nice in the end. But I'd rather keep a narrower stem if I can. Is actually out there too. This tree that fallen tree that I'm drawing is actually in a different location than the rest of the bottom. I stuck it on there out of place, you know, like I took almost like I could take into photographic negatives and stuck them over each other and made them different. So this stump is in a different place. But here in the Pacific Northwest, it rains so much that moss pretty much grows on anything. So if you have a tree stump, I mean, they deteriorate pretty quickly if they're dead, if it's just been cut or if it's just stand upright. It's a tribute to how old the tree is if it lasts longer. And of course, if the tree is made of cedar, it will last longer because it has properties in it to help against decomposition. But they grow stuff. In fact, I have several trees on my property that have trees that have been cut down. They're stumps because this place was logged. I was going to say olden days, but you know, a good, I'm going to say 50 to 100 years ago. And the stumps that remain have often grown other trees. I have trees that are 20, 30 feet tall growing out of these huge stumps because there was old growth timber here that was logged some time back. Wherever the sunlight hits it, there's not going to be any moss. But if it's just lying down and it's in the shade, all of the moss and everything is going to grow on top of it, which is kind of what's happened on this tree that I'm drawing. And when you're drawing moss and stuff, it's kind of like drawing layers of sponges because nobody ever wants a moss yard except for me, because the moss actually absorbs all the water and it's dry. You can sit on it in your shorts so your pants don't get wet. But the moss just forms a constant layer, and you can rip it off the logs here if you want to harvest it. You just rip it off and you can place it on top of a rock or part of a walkway if you want to add moss to it. And it's kind of like a carpet. And it comes in different colors, and as it dies, it turns different shades of yellow and orange, usually light green. And right now I actually have some growing around the perimeter of my sidewalk and my house here, and it's red. It's like really, really red. I'm not sure what happened that got it so red this year. I think it's because it grew so well last summer. And I'll do 3 layers of this grass and flowers that are growing on top of the moss. They're almost like little fairy forests, if you will. All the little people are. But I have my resist thin enough that I don't suffer from arthritis in the hand yet. but I'm barely applying any pressure to get this to come out. In fact, I wouldn't hold it upside down above my silk for very long for fear that it would drip out.
The amount of detail and the amount of lines is really up to you, how much you want to put in your piece. If you're just starting out, oftentimes the resist lines you leave are too thick and they will leave a texture in the silk. That doesn't bother everybody, but it does bother some people, so do be aware of that. So you really just need to decide how much you want to play with the silk and the way the silk blends on the fabric, and how much you actually want to have lines on the silk determine how much design you have. Because again, when the silk reaches one of these lines, it works like a fence and it stops the silk from spreading, and you can use that to your advantage, or it can be a disadvantage depending again on how much blending you want to do on the silk.
So here I am, painting in one of these ravens. Now, the raven's eyes are not that big. I have exaggerated them. But I want to show the emotion in the raven's eye, so I'm doing that on purpose. When I've made them smaller, I haven't been able to show all the emotion. I don't want to make them so large that they become like a cartoon. That's not my goal here, because I want it to be more realistic. But at the same time, I want you to be able to see the raven's eye, and that I took a little bit of artistic license on that. I want to make sure that you see the raven. So here's his head. And ravens are, their heads kind of like eagles. Their beaks are pretty imposing. Sometimes they've been broken. I know that even our parrot has broken his nose a couple times. My mom's parrot had broken his nose. So drawing them too straight, especially if you're drawing a wild bird, I think is a bit of a disservice. It will make your animal you're drawing look a little less realistic. But these are all decisions you have to make. I always make sure that I make them a little character bump, if you will. So these are these small feathers that they have underneath their wings.
Here's a picture of the final piece, and next I'm going to show you a close-up of the final resist piece. And next I'm going to be dyeing it, and just to give you kind of a short sneak peek, this is a picture of what it looks like when it's been completely dyed. Watch part B of 3 Ravens in Trees to see the dye application process.
Hey, thanks for watching the video today. If you liked it, press the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this from me, press the subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. If you want to find out more about me and my business, press the down arrow and you'll get links to my website. Really hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time in the art studio.